Well, we'll go ahead and move on to the first question. And all the questions tonight are based on issues that City Council has either voted on or discussed over the last year. The first issue, which some of you mentioned, is stormwater management. Certainly the city's heard a lot from residents who have struggled with flooding or water inundation in their homes for various different reasons. But what role do you think the city should take in helping these homeowners, and what do you think can be done to help reduce the amount of flooding in some of the low-lying areas in Macedonia? We'll start this time with Mr. Bilkie.
Thanks, John. It's
90 seconds to
It's a good question. You know, not being involved in the city government until this year, I don't know all the ins and outs of stormwater management, but what I will say is that you work together with the service department, you work together with the administration to find a solution for these problems. I live in a neighborhood right now that has potential really bad damaging floodplains, and it's about identifying them and finding a solution to fix them long term, not just patchwork. And it's one of those things that you have to learn from the experts that are already in place to tell you how to fix something. You know, I'm not an expert in it, so I will defer to people who do know how to fix it. I'm a legislator in this position, and I would want to get more information about it before I'd lend any money or put any money to it. Thanks.
Mr. Molnar?
I can say with good certainty that in the past 8 years, this has become a passion of mine. So much so that I've started a career in it. I started to be taking classes with stormwater management and roadway management, and I currently am the Deputy Director of Public Service for another community where my sole responsibility is dealing with stormwater and roadway issues. In our town, we have been inundated with problems. The Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District threw a wrench in our game not that long ago, and it seems to be that that's going to come back around again. So how you fund these repairs is going to be wildly important. We don't have a funding mechanism right now in place to solve all the issues that we have. The council coming in 2016 is going to have to figure out how we're going to fund this, remain solvent, and be able to do the other things that we need to do in the community. So solving those issues is going to be complicated. There are some ideas that I have that we can work with the budget that we currently have, but until we have our next mayor in place and council sits down working out that budget collaboratively, I think we'll be able to figure all that out.
All right, Ms. Darrow.
I think really what's happened is that Macedonia has grown so much. The new homes being built, and a lot of the older homes there in Macedonia can't sustain what's happening with all, like some of the homes have one bathroom, 2 bathrooms, and then now all these other homes and all the new construction going up all over Macedonia. It's grown so much, all to 11,000 something residents now and businesses, that the smaller homes can't keep up, you know, with the flow. I think funding, the city has to work with the sewer and stormwater to start fixing these problems. There's so many older homes in Macedonia that need attention. And the only way we're going to do that is work together with the county and the city, and also with the Cleveland Sewer District.
All right, Mr. Miller.
Stormwater management and rain management were the issues that caused me to get involved in City Council first. My backyard was a swamp, but it wasn't a swamp when I first moved in. It became a swampy area after development to the east of my house. Since I used to be a firefighter, I had firefighter boots, and I would need them to walk in my backyard 9 months out of the year. I've walked every stream, creek, and river, brook in Macedonia. I've surveyed them, we've audited them, and I was on the only one here that was on the stormwater committee that we had in the past. Climate change has made a difference. I've made recommendations 12 years ago about things that we should have done that were just passed recently at City Council. So we have a lot of unfunded mandates, EPA mandates and other things. We have overbuilt areas without consideration for stormwater. Our engineers didn't really incorporate that in many of the plans. And as Nick said on previous occasions, stormwater runoff is very important to the health of our roads. And so we have problems there, and we have big problems. And we've, in the past, administrations have tried to address them, but they haven't been as successful as we had hoped. So that's one of the strengths that I bring to the council, is a background in this stuff.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Bilkie, if you'd like, you have 60 seconds to respond or provide a follow-up answer to the question.
I'm going to try to inject a little bit of levity. I think Mr. Darrow is trying to blame my neighborhood for the flooding party, but I don't think that's what you're meant to say. But
No.
I do understand that
You're
that
not.
we do have a growth problem, and that's a good problem. But we need to find solutions, and I think that going to the council meetings, it seems like we talk about these solutions and never enact them. And the solutions, I think they just bought a house from the council, and that's great for that homeowner who's now going to, be able to have. But boy, it sets a dangerous precedent that, hey, if you have flooding problems in Macedonia, we'll come and buy your house. So I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. I just hope that solves that area's flooding problem for good, and it's not a lingering issue. So that's all I'd like to say.
Mr. Molnar.
I think it's often forgotten that stormwater issues are wildly expensive. I heard a comment recently that how can we spend $50,000 to do an engineering study in one of our worst stormwater areas in town when we've already done one that was done 10 years prior. You got to remember the topography of the land, the buildings, the highways, the roadways, everything changes. Engineering is the most important piece of all that, to determine what you need to do, where the problem's coming from, and how you correct it. So it comes down to really one thing: funding. And currently on Ledge Road, we have probably one of our worst problems where the water's encroaching up to the people's houses. It's eating away their land so rapidly that there is no solution right now until we get engineering to give us some kind of an idea what to do there. It has been suggested that that project can cost in the millions. How we fund that, we don't know yet. And that's going to be the issue going forward, is how we fund these problems. We haven't raised property taxes since 1963. We rely on income tax. In 2010, the bottom fell out. Everyone could not figure out what we were going to do. I was the chair of finance, and I helped steer us through that difficult time. But in that time, we basically cut every project and everything we could just to remain solvent and in the black. So we're still recovering from that. We have to figure out a way to finance these problems. There can be a lot of creative ways to do that, and I think in the next term with the next mayor, working with the county and looking for grants and things of that nature, we may be able to deal with more of these issues.
All right, thank you, Mr. Molnar. Ms. Darrow.
As I said, we're legislators. The administration has, the mayor has an administration, and that includes an engineer and the building department and the service department. And it's the mayor's job to work with the other entities, the stormwater, the Cleveland sewer, the county, and they bring us the legislation for us to vote on to fund these projects. The debate is, where do you get a lot of this money to do these projects, okay? And it's just not our problem in the city. It has to do with county, and it has to do with Cleveland, who put the stormwater, the storms in. So there's going to be 3 different entities that have to work with the city to get these things done, and that's done by the administration. And then, but we've been having a lot of meetings to try to find a way to start funding these in our stormwater and roads resurfacing meetings that we've been having. So we're getting there.
All right, Mr. Miller.
Stormwater management is not that difficult. It takes some common sense and lots of money. Most of the problems that we have were self-inflicted because of poor planning or no planning in the past. So when you're on city council, you have to make decisions how you're going to spend money. And when you're talking to people whose basements are flooded to the first floor, or people who have their homes flooded, it's very difficult to not sympathize with them. But in all cases, there's a bit of common sense that has not come into play. And where we build homes and where we don't build homes is very important, and how we attack this. So council people are not You can't be on council without some courage, and it's tough to come up with these decisions. And I think we've done a good job in the past, but we can do better.